Welcome to the MediaCasters with your business besties, Karina Belizzi and Julie Loken. In every episode, you'll get behind-the-scenes access to experts who share their struggles and successes in podcasting, publishing, and presenting. So grab a pen, grab your bestie, and kick it with Karina and Jules.
You're a MediaCaster, so you need to know the person I am speaking to today. His name is Cody Harvey. He is an unlikely CEO of one of the most rapidly growing tech companies in, I'm going to say, the universe. And if you don't know socialaudio, he's pioneering a new app called Breakout. So we're going to learn all about this unlikely CEO who grew up in the cornfields of Indiana and now is ruling the world. But I maybe over-exaggerate just a little bit. He truly is just a humble human being, someone that knows his strengths, and he is making those connections. So I'm so happy to have you here, William Cody Harvey.
Oh, you just told the whole world what my real name was.
It is your real name.
Happy to be here, Julie.
Well, now everyone can Google both Cody Harvey and William Cody Harvey.
Dang. Yeah. I don't think there's much on William Cody Harvey, just my LinkedIn.
We have to do something about that one. But to be honest, you know, the minute I met you, I saw something very different about you. I saw something that was unlike any other CEO that I've ever spoken to. It's so fascinating how you grew up in a small town, you know, in your head, probably always destined to be great, to be of greatness, but it was probably to be an NFL superstar. And you flipped the script. You had everything going against you. Number one, you had $1 in your pocket, and now you are connecting people throughout the world. You are helping entrepreneurs and small businesses, and then you're starting this brainchild called Breakout. So I want to hear from you, Cody Harvey, WCH.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you'd asked me 10, 15 years ago,
Which you were like 15 then, right?
Yeah, I'm 32. So that would be what, 17, something like that, 15 years ago. You know, I would have never thought that I would be in the position that I am. And I contribute everything in terms of success and milestones that I've been able to achieve to really two things. One, God, and two, just an incredible team of people that really strengthen my weaknesses, because I have a ton. But, you know, I think if you can find yourself around the right people, and, you know, you're around people that really want to see you win and are willing to stick it out during the hard times, because no matter what journey you go on, especially in the entrepreneurial world, you're going to go through a season of difficulty and you're going to face adversity, right? And you're going to have a lot of people that start with you that don't finish with you, and you're going to have a few people that stick with you and finish the race, right? And so I think the people that eventually kind of find their way to the pinnacle of success, which by no means am I there yet, but the ones that do are the ones that are lucky enough to kind of find a tribe of individuals who want to run the race with them through the good times and the bad. So
you make that sound so simple. And I happen to have a little insight into your company. And you guys, you have to check out Kennected. It's Kennected. If you do use LinkedIn, they've changed the way that you do use LinkedIn and get those quality leads that you need to grow your business. But the thing that you're doing so differently, Cody, is that you're not only connecting people, and when you talk about having that tribe, that long haul, those ride or dies, you've got Jesse, and this is a great story of one of your partners, Jesse.
yeah, I mean,
let's talk about Jesse for a minute, if you will.
Yeah.
Shout out Jesse.
Shout out Jesse. Jesse's awesome. You know, we went to school together. We've been
like, you mean grade school and high school?
All the way through school, but he was 2 years older than me. So like, we didn't really start hanging out until I was in high school. Right. And then we just became buddies in high school and stayed friends all the way throughout college. He went to a different college. He graduated from IU in undergrad, and he graduated from Butler with his MBA. And we just stayed friends throughout that entire time. And eventually, once things started taken off for me. Jesse was one of the first people that, you know, kind of reapproached and said, hey, let's figure some stuff out. And so we did. You know, it's somebody that I can trust. He's somebody that adds a lot of value. He's extremely smart when it comes to numbers, and he fills a lot of voids that I have. But, you know, there's a lot of people like that, right? Like, everything that I've built, whether it's been Breakout or Kennected or whatever it is that I'm doing, I have another partner, Devin, who I think did you meet Devin when you were here or no?
I have not met Devin, but I hope to meet him very soon.
Yeah, Devin's incredible, right? Like Devin's younger than me. So Jesse's older, Devin's younger. You know, I consider Devin kind of like a little brother. Devin's actually the CEO of Kennected. And I met him when he was 18 years old, and just to kind of see where he's come from and what he's been able to overcome from his dad being, you know, a drug addict, overdosing on heroin, his little sister having brain cancer and beating those odds, and him hustling sneakers at the age of 14 or 15 just to keep his mom and his sister and him out of the Ronald McDonald House here in Indianapolis. To see him on his journey and the adversity that he's overcome, right? And I could go on and on, right? There's Josh, there's Steven, there's Eric, there's Arpon, there's all of these people that, you know, are just as hungry as I am, that have strengths that complement my weaknesses. And I think, you know, the fact that we all want to win together and we truly do have each other's best interest in mind, I think that's why we win.
What are your weaknesses?
Oh man, where do I start?
Well, we all have them. We all have weaknesses, and that's the beautiful intelligence of your business ideology. You find those that can compensate for your weaknesses.
Yeah, no, I have a few that I'll rattle off. One is I'm not the most organized person by any means, right? I tend to wait till the last minute to do things because to me, it only takes a minute if you do that. That's a joke, but
that's funny.
Not a very
insert laughter.
I'm not very organized. I procrastinate a whole lot. You know, I'm a shoot from the hip type of person. Sometimes I base things off of emotions when I shouldn't, right? I should be more calculated. But that's why I have those individuals in my inner circle, because the things that I know that I would mess up on, they're kind of there to guide me. They're like bumpers on a bowling alley, you know, keep the ball going straight.
Oh, I love that analogy. And, you know, you graduate from Franklin College, and why I feel like you are the unlikely CEO is because your trajectory didn't start out this way. Sure, you knew how to surround yourself, you knew how to make those relationships work, but there is a story. And for all those entrepreneurs out there who are ready to throw in the towel, you've probably been at that precipice of wanting to throw in that towel. You know, the story of the $1 bill and just all the different ideas you had before you really came up with that amazing piece of gold, which is Kennected.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, it literally had $1, right? I had, man, I'm going to show you that video too, because I have it on my phone that I found.
I need that. I need that.
So I had $8 to my name, and I went to Little Caesars pizza shop and I bought a pizza and a Mountain Dew. And then by the time I wasn't thinking about it at that time, but when I bought the pizza and I bought the Mountain Dew, I then had $1 left, right? It was I was like, holy moly, like I got $1 left to my name. What am I going to do? And I knew, like, I never really viewed money as the status of success. I always viewed money as a tool, right? And so to me, it wasn't about like, how do I figure out how to go make more money and add to this $1? It was more about like, how do I figure out what my purpose is? Because when you can really identify what your purpose is, everything you do, like it doesn't feel like work. And you're going to put way more effort, way more energy, way more time, you know, way more passion into that. And eventually the money itself will come from that. I heard an interesting thing on I can't remember if it was like on Instagram Reels or TikTok or whatever, but this guy's like, everybody puts all this emphasis on money, right? But if I was to give you $1 million right now, but I was to tell you that tomorrow you wouldn't wake up, would you take the $1 million? Well, of course not, right? At least most people I don't think would. So, therefore you value time more than money. If I was to say, hey, I'll give you this $1 million, but you're going to be sick for the rest of your life, would you take the $1 million? The answer is no, right? Because you value your health more than you value money. So health is a priority over money. If I was to give you $1 million, but your mom or dad were to get, super sick and die, would you take the money? The answer is no, because most people value relationships over money. So if we can control what we do with our time, and we can control the amount of effort that we put into our relationships, and we can control certain things like making the right choices in terms of what we eat and working out and whatever, then we really already have everything that we need from a foundational level to step into any kind of ring of entrepreneurship that we want and be successful, right? And the one thing that I identified, when I had this $1 was creating relationships are free, right? Like creating relationships, it just takes effort and energy and genuineness. That's it. And if you can put effort and energy and be genuine in the process of developing relationships, that's going to carry you further than any amount of dollars are ever going to, right? And because I was able to create these authentic relationships, I was able to build off of that and ultimately connect and network with the right people to help me build what I've been able to build thus far.
I love that. And having that idea that you can generate a recurring income over and over and over and over. And I found that fascinating the way that you do talk about that, because you started talking with numbers and math, and that's where my eyes glazed over and I just nodded and smiled. But it's true. You have to have that spark. You have to have that idea. And so when we're talking about Connected, it's been on the Inc. 5,000 list for 2 years in a row. I mean, are you patting yourself on the back? Are you guys resting in your laurels?
I pat the team on the back, right? I mean, they're the ones that are in the day-to-day now. They're the ones that took us from 500 something on the Inc. 5,000 list to 438, right? Like I'm more focused on the business and not in the business. Devin's focused on the business, not in the business, but the business doesn't operate and the business doesn't run without the people that are out on the sales floor right now, the people that are taking support tickets and helping customers out, right? So they're the ones that deserve the credit. Like we were able to prove proof of concept and get it to where it was enticing for other people to come and work for us. But they're the ones that ultimately helped create the culture, sustain the culture, and take the company from where it was to where it is. So I pat them on the back.
I mean, you're making it sound so easy. So easy. And I just know the life cycle of entrepreneurs, it's a hard job. And with this influx with the quiet quitting and the great resignation, you have so many more entrepreneurs that you are working with. It's just a floodgate of people wanting to command their own time, to live their vision, to do their thing. And the grind gets so hard and the no's get so hard and the just resistance to your ideas get so hard. How do you keep going through that?
Yes, it's the law of average, right? So I always think of an analogy of like, if I was selling vacuum cleaners, there are thousands of people that went out and became millionaires selling vacuum cleaners. How do they do it? Well, they didn't just knock on every single door and every single person buy the vacuum, right? There was an average of people that answered the door to people that said no, the people that said yes, right? So for instance, if I knock on 100 doors and I'm selling a vacuum cleaner and I sell 3, then I know that my average is 3%, right? So then it just comes down to numbers at that point. If I knock on 200 doors, I'm going to sell 6. If I knock on 300 doors, I'm going to sell 9, so on and so forth. So every no that you have actually is just getting you closer to the yes. I would say one of the number one skill sets that an entrepreneur has to have in order to be successful is being okay with being rejected, right? Like you have to get through the no's in order to get through the yeses. There's no other way around it. But if you can come to grips with that and not take it personal, right? And just move on and understand that you're literally only one yes away, one relationship away from literally changing the trajectory of your life, man, like if that doesn't give you motivation, I don't know what does.
That's crazy to think of that. And it's like the 7 degrees of separation. It's true. You know, I find that so fascinating. And, you know, when you're in it and you're like, I'm done, I'm going to throw in the towel. I'm in that, just that mode of burnout. How do you keep on going? Even if you're telling yourself, I'm just one more person away from like that big deal or that relationship that I need to take my business to the next level.
Yeah, I think the people that experience burnout and the people that really get discouraged, I think they've made it. And I'm not saying that we don't all go through it, right? Like I get discouraged. I face burnout. Sometimes throw a pity party and feel bad about stuff.
What does that look like? The pity party? Is it
I
Mountain
mean, it's
Dew?
just, it comes down to like just feeling, I don't know, like, uh, I don't know, like taking things for granted. I think you when you take things for granted and you focus on these little things in the grand scheme of things, like nobody in my family died. I don't have cancer. I pray I don't have cancer. Like I'm not going through any of these negative, like really astronomical, horrible things. Like, and I focus on like, oh, what's not going wrong in my business? When my perception turns to that, and I'm not grateful and thankful for like the fact that I'm healthy, the fact that I have an amazing family, the fact that I have awesome business partners, the fact that I have awesome friends, right? When I take for granted all of those things, that's when I throw a pity party. And I have to have this like paradigm shift. I have to change the way that I'm looking at the world because that's not okay. Right. But where was I going with that? What was the question that you asked me? How do you,
I
oh,
I am so
how do you
glad
deal
you're
with it?
enjoying my poignant, powerful questioning.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's just, what does it look like? Is it like you're just eating a lot of pizza? You're just like you're curling in a ball
A
and you
big
just don't
Reese
want to
Cups
talk to
guy,
anybody, or what?
a
Like,
big Reese
tell us
Cups
the
guy.
nitty gritty. The nitty gritty.
Reese cups and Chex Mix, and
Oh,
yeah, like so if I'm smashing Reese cups and Chex Mix, I'm probably not in a good mental state. I'm probably trying to deal with some stuff.
that's where when we walk away and just let you be.
Yeah, if I'm just hammering down some Reese cups. But
That's my favorite too.
the question that you
Halloween.
asked me
Hmm.
was a good question. I remember it now. Was how do you deal with it? I think,
Yeah.
right? And I think that the people that stay in that state, right? Because there are people that get down on themselves and stay down on themselves. I think there's a sense of selfishness there, right? Which is why I try to get out of it as soon as I can. Because if like I'm so focused on why things are not going right and like woe is me, and I just give up, how is that fair to the people that I'm trying to build this for? Right? Like whether it's your family, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your kids, whether it's your parents, like whoever it is, right? Like you, even if you don't owe it to yourself, if you want to play the woe is me card and not grind out for you, like grind out for the people that have believed in you your entire life, right? Like show them that they were right for investing the money, investing the time, investing the energy, telling you that you could do it. Like go prove them right. Don't prove them wrong. They've believed in you since day one, right? And I also think every person has a gift, no matter what it is. Maybe you're an artist, maybe you're an actor, maybe you sell software, maybe you're a coder, maybe whatever it is that you do from an entrepreneur standpoint, you have a gift that 8 billion people around the world deserve to hear, right? So who are you as an individual to not give that gift to the world, right? So get out of your own way, get out of your own head, and don't be selfish.
Hmm. That's a wake up call I think a lot of people need to hear. You know, don't be selfish because we think it's all about us. We think, oh, our egos are so big that we recoil if we think, when we mind read and think what other people think about us. And no one really cares about us. I'm
Yeah,
telling you, 20
nobody can.
minutes is the bandwidth. 20 minutes,
Nobody,
people.
yeah.
No.
People think like everybody's walking around thinking about you all day, whether
Why
it's
is
good
Cody
or
doing
bad.
this? Why is Cody
Yeah.
doing that? Yeah.
Yeah, people are living their own life. Like you're not thinking about somebody for more than 5 minutes, right? Nobody's thinking about you for more than 5 minutes, right? So whether it's coming from a place of narcissism or ego, or pity, whatever it is, whether you think people are thinking good things or bad things, they're not thinking about it. And even if they are, who cares,
Mhm.
right? Everybody's going to die. Like we're all going to like grow up and die
True.
eventually.
Yeah.
So whose opinion really matters? All that really matters is that you do the best that you can do, you keep pushing forward, and you try to make as big of an impact as you can make.
It's easier to take risks when you remember we're all going to die, right?
That's it.
That levels the playing ground. I love that. So, I mean, this whole metamorphosis, and this was such a quick road for you guys, relatively speaking. 3 years, you go from, I'm not going to say $1 to like building a multi-million-dollar company. And how does your brain catch up with that? And I'm just using this very generally. I mean, from being in the cornfields of Indiana and being a manager at Lifetime Fitness or LA.
LA Fitness, yeah.
LA, I get those
Yeah.
mixed up.
No,
LA
you're good.
Fitness. And then all of a sudden you're sitting here looking across the way from Lucas Oil Field in downtown Indy. Like, how does your brain catch up with that?
Yeah, so I'll give you an example because I've been teaching myself how to play the guitar lately. And so my fingers are all like blistered and stuff because I'm literally like brand new at it. Anyways, I was Googling like how to learn how to transition from chord to chord faster and like things like that. And there was an interesting article, an interesting YouTube video where this guy basically says, when you're trying to figure out how to put your fingers in the right places on the guitar, your brain understands failure more than it understands like success. So you're basically moving from chord to chord and failing, right? And your brain is in that process creating new neural pathways so that your brain to your fingers, like it's coordinating them, right? If that makes sense, right? So if you're going from like the A chord or the E chord or whatever to the C chord, when you fail, your brain is firing these signals being like, that's not right, that's not right. And it's creating these new neural pathways. And then when you do get it right, it's giving you this shot of dopamine, right? So I would compare that as like the closest example as I can when you find yourself on kind of this rocket ship ride in terms of trajectory that we've experienced with business, is we figured out what we figured out through a ton of failure, right? Like we made a ton of mistakes. We didn't do things right. And like, because of that, we're like, oh crap, that didn't work out the way that we thought, right? And we learn from those lessons. It's only a mistake if you do it twice, right? So we learn from those lessons and we created these new pathways of understanding how to scale a company. And then what we did was we understand that we don't know what we don't know. So in order to avoid creating those pitfalls and those failures, we've invested a ton of time and a ton of money into hiring consultants, which I didn't used to believe in at all. I just thought they were people that just wanted to come in and take your money and feed you a bunch of, BS. But we invested a ton of money and a ton of time into really understanding systems and processes and structure and all the stuff that you don't think about in the beginning, right? And so because of that, over the last 3 or 4 years, we've gotten from, A to P. I wouldn't say we're at Z, right? Because we still have a long way to go, but we've made it from A to P. So
that's fascinating. And you guys are doing it the right way. Obviously, you have enough good people around you to direct you, people that will tell you the truth if you misdirect any sort of decision making, and people that you trust. And there's probably people that you've met that we're just in it for them. So I'm guessing along a couple people. Who's your idol? Like, who do you look up to in terms of, I don't know, just life, I guess. Let's talk about life. Let's talk a little bit about life today.
Oh man. I don't know if I have any idols. I don't have any idols.
I mean, besides me, Cody, that's the obvious answer.
Yeah, that's the obvious one.
Just
I don't
kidding,
know.
guys.
I think it depends on what field, right? Because there's a lot of people that are successful in business that like I've learned a lot from, that I'm like, man, I want to be more like this guy when it comes to business. But that doesn't mean that person has their family life together, right? That doesn't mean that person has, this vertical over here together. So it's like, I try to not really look up to anybody. I try to just like learn what I can from as many people as I can.
You don't fanboy, like if someone walked into your office right now, you wouldn't like start to shake, like Michael Jordan or anybody? Nobody?
I don't know, like, every single person to me is equal, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't matter how high I climb in life. It doesn't
I'm gonna
matter,
test you out on that. I'm gonna try to make you nervous around somebody, but I digress.
like, no matter where I eventually end up, like, there's no difference between me and anybody else in the world, right? Like, every person has unique superpowers and value. So it's like, why would anybody idolize anybody? I think you can learn a lot and appreciate and respect people for their skill sets and what they do, but I don't think anybody should ever idolize or fanboy or fangirl over people.
Okay, duly noted. Duly noted. No,
If you live by people's praises, then you'll die by their criticisms, right?
wait, say that again. I love that.
If you live by people's praises, then you'll die by their criticisms,
Wow, true. Hmm.
right?
It
So
takes a very solid mind. It takes a very solid mind to think that clearly, you know, as you've experienced rapid growth. And what I'm so excited about, I've always loved social audio for all of those entrepreneurs, creatives, writers out there that don't know what social audio is. Let's let Cody explain number one, and then we're going to talk about breakout and how breakout is going to, I don't want to say clobber it because I don't think that's your vision, but how it's going to change the trajectory for creatives just like us in terms of using social audio.
yeah. So think of your go-to social networks like Facebook or Instagram or whatever you use. So the ability to connect with people from all over the world and see what they're posting, talking about, so on and so forth, but giving it an extra layer where people can jump into real-time conversations with other individuals from around the world about whatever they want to talk about, right? So think of like a seminar where you show up and you're hanging out in a room and there's speakers, and then you as an audience member step into that room, take a seat and listen to them. And then at some point in the show or the seminar, the speaker or somebody on stage is like, hey, do we have any questions? Anybody want to, talk about stuff? And then somebody raises their hands like, yeah, I want to talk. And all of a sudden there's this engagement happening between the audience and the actual host or the panel or the co-host or whatever, right? So we've taken that dynamic and we've created the same thing in the virtual world. So it's like, you can still post pictures, statuses, all the stuff you're familiar with, like on Facebook, but at the same time, you can connect with people and actually have live conversations in large rooms. So that's what social audio essentially is.
Mhm.
And then, I think people come to social audio really for two reasons. One, because they want to be educated. They're trying to learn a particular skill set. Or two, they're trying to be entertained, right? Like they want to be in a room in real time, hearing about whatever topics being talked about. They want to laugh, they want to cry, they want to, feel some kind of emotion.
Mhm.
And so that's really what this application is built for. It's for people to network with one another, connect with one another, educate one another, be entertaining with one another, and bring everything into one centralized ecosystem where people can enjoy a social networking atmosphere.
Mhm. I love that. And it's true. And as someone that dabbled in social audio, meaning Clubhouse back in the day during the pandemic, it changed the trajectory of my business. It really did because it opened the floodgates to meet so many different people and I learned so many different things. But what I love about Breakout and what it's going to do for creators, especially if you are a podcaster, it's going to give you the ability to create and do everything in a one-stop shop on this app. And I've never heard of anything like this. And I'm just going to be singing the praises, when the app fully launches, which I don't know what's the exact, do you have a launch date yet?
Well, it was supposed to be very soon, but
Mm-hmm.
the community's very adamant about rolling out what are called tribes. So it's like our version of groups.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been working on getting that finalized before we actually push. So we're almost there.
Isn't it so fun to be an innovator, Cody? Isn't it so fun? You are changing the lives of, I don't know, is it millions of people? It must be so crazy to like just sit in silence and think about everything that you have done.
I appreciate that.
That's so cool. Cody, we're going to have you on again on the Media Casters, especially when the rollout goes live, because I think it's going to change so many people's lives, the creatives in our community, podcasters, authors, and all entrepreneurs in general, because it just opens up a different avenue to really rethink everything you're doing with your business, meet new quality people, and maybe even get to talk with WCH, Cody
Let's go.
Harvey. Let's
Here I
go.
am.
Let's do it.
Here I am.
Let's do it. Okay, so at the end of every episode, I ask people to say 3 words. And one day I'm going to make a montage of everybody doing it. And you are in very good stead from all of our guests, so don't feel embarrassed. But I ask them to say, let's kick it.
Let's kick it.
Come on, you got it bigger and bolder than that.
Let's
Cody
kick
Harvey.
it. I don't
Let's kick it. You'll see. Okay. It's amazing. Kicking it with Cody.
I'm kicking it.
I love it. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for listening to another episode of The Media Casters. You can keep this conversation going and kick it with Karina and Jules in live office hours each week. Visit themediacasters.mn.co to sign up. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe whenever you listen. Let's kick it.